I'm not going to shudder because this morning's guest has got a bug. Meet her, coming up next on All American People. Good morning. Welcome to All American People. This morning we're at Villa Romana Italian Restaurant in the vacation destination of the year, as voted on by visitors to allamericancities.com. We're focused on the amazing life of a longtime photojournalist, and we're visiting with Dr. Hilda Carter, who's been cruising the Carolinas and beyond. Good morning, Dr. Carter.
Good morning.
How exciting to get you back into Villa Romana.
Yes, I love this place.
Do you mind if we call you Hilda?
Oh, please do.
I know so many folks over the last year and a half, 2 years, have gotten used to calling you Dr. Carter after your amazing honorary doctorate from Coastal Carolina University. But of course, so many folks know you as Hilda.
Yes, that's true. And I like Hilda better. I mean, to call me.
You know, of course, when we re-kicked off the show back here, not too long ago, and we kicked it off here at Villa Romana, and we had you in.
Yes.
But of course, we really wanted to get you back because there were so many questions, Hilda, that we missed out on, and really wanted to have the opportunity to highlight.
Well, I think it was the questions that everybody would like to know how I began.
Oh yeah, you know, I mean, when you think about all these awards you've gotten, whether it's the Silver Crescent Award from Governor Jim Hodges in South Carolina, whether it's your honorary doctorate from Coastal Carolina University,
and
so many awards,
proud of them,
both within the last decade. To think about those, but to think there were a lot of things that had to happen leading up to get Governor Hodges recognizing you and an entire university board of trustees recognizing you.
I know. It was quite an honor, and it was quite a surprise.
Oh, well,
too,
you know. And at some point, Hilda, after you've received a lot of acclaim or been recognized, you probably get to the point that you understand why people, I mean, what is that like to get to the point where you would actually understand why someone would want to honor you?
Well, when you start thinking back to what you've done for your community, for your state, for your country.
Yes.
Sometimes you can forget. Other people don't. They're watching you, and you don't realize that.
Right.
And you just go on and do what you think you're supposed to do. And you don't think of that award that they're going to bestow on you. And I guess that's why it's really a shock to a person that's receiving it. It was to me.
Right.
I mean, I could have thought of other people that probably should have received it or something of that sort, but I was glad it was me.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Very definitely.
And I think it changes your life too in a way, because you realize how important that award really is.
Yes.
And that it was given to you by your governor of the state you lived in.
Yes.
So I was very happy about it, and I think it was a big change in my life. I felt better about it. I felt like that things that I did were maybe appreciated a little more than what I had thought.
Yes.
So it makes a difference.
That is the Silver Crescent Award, and even more recently, the honorary doctorate from Coastal Carolina.
That is. Well, you know, scholarship is very high to me.
Right.
I mean, I've said time and time again, and that's why I think the Miss America pageant is so important to me, because they emphasize on education.
Right.
And there's a lot of girls that have the ability and the talent, but they don't have the money.
Right.
Their parents can't buy them evening gowns because there might be 4 other girls in the family.
Right.
So by having scholarships, these girls can stay in school. When they graduate, they've got a place to go. The college is there. And through the Miss America pageant, with all the scholarships that they have given through the years, and Lenora Slaughter, who was the originator of the Miss America pageant, that's what her dream was, to have these women that couldn't afford it, to be able to stay in there and work for it by getting scholarships.
Yes.
And that's why it's so important to me. And for the past 2 years, our Miss Myrtle Beach pageant has really been honored because we had scholarships over $25,000.
Yes, the largest
which were the
cash
largest
scholarships in
local
America.
scholarship in America.
Right, right, very definitely.
So that's something to really say. Myrtle Beach, they had this.
Right.
And I'm hoping that by us doing that, that other states will take a hold, or other pageants will say, oh, that's important, because that's education.
Yes, Hilda.
And I've also thought that it would be nice if somebody had a Mr. Myrtle Beach.
Is that right? A
Yeah.
Mr. Myrtle Beach, or even a Mr.
And
America?
go right on up to Miss America, just like we do with the Miss America
Wow.
pageant.
Now, why would you think that?
Because it's education.
Right.
And if they have that scholarship, they'll stay in school, or they'll try to keep working until they build themselves up in pageants.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's benefited us today. By these pageants, having girls coming in early, getting their training, and then entering the pageant. Then from there, they can stay in school. They can still keep working towards to win something, and there's something in there for everybody.
That is
something
tremendous,
in
Hilda.
there
Well, I
that they-
sure want to talk more about that. There's a lot of opportunity, but I do want to say for viewers who may need to get out of the house now,
Yeah.
one of the important things is if they will take the time to come back and be with us tomorrow,
Oh, yeah.
we are going to get into some pageant questions as
That's
if
right.
you, Dr. Hilda
Yes.
Carter, was a contestant.
That's
So folks will
fun.
have to tune back in. But there's so many more questions I want to get into. I want to make sure we have an opportunity to highlight a little bit of your past before we get
Yes,
into
yes.
scholarships and into pageants. Are you originally from this area, Hilda?
Well, I'm originally from Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay.
But of course, the summers we were down in Myrtle Beach. And as a young child, you know, I was thinking back the other day about being on your show. I thought, well, you know, I guess most people don't realize that I was from Wilmington because I was down here doing the Miss Sun Fun pageant.
Right.
And a long time before I really moved here permanently. So they didn't know that about me.
Right.
And I started off in high school. I was a junior in high school and was the editor of our school paper.
You were the editor of the paper. Wow, Hilda, that
And
must have been an honor.
what I wrote about and took pictures of, even back then I was taking pictures, and it would show the girls in their beautiful gowns at balls we had at the school,
Right.
or wherever they were having them, baseball games, football games, whatever went on in school. I did it. I took the pictures and I wrote about it. And one day, David Brinkley, which was at the Star newspaper,
The daily newspaper
Yeah.
there in Wilmington, right?
he came to the high school to talk to me. And he said, Hilda, I've been following you a good while. He said, and I like your style.
Wow.
I like you putting pictures in with the stories.
Yes.
He said, how would you like to come to work for us at the Star News?
Wow.
And you cover the stories just like you do in your school paper.
Right.
Do it for our Star News.
For the whole area, not just one high school.
Yeah, right. And I said, well, I'd love that. And so working with him, oh my heavens, that man,
Right.
he was something else. No wonder he was so good in television, because he started off in the newspaper field, and he was a great writer. And his ability, he said, the only thing is I can't take pictures.
Wow. So you
So
had that
I
strength where you
wanted-
could both
yeah,
take pictures
I had
and
that
write.
where I
Right.
could do both. And it was so much fun working with him. And then he got fired
No.
by Rye Page, which owned the paper at that time.
Right.
And I think it was a jealousy thing that he had for David, because David was so popular.
Oh,
People
yeah.
loved David. He just had the greatest personality. And it was okay. If you needed something, he'd sit right there until you got it. I mean, he was that dedicated to what he did. But he left Wilmington, which just broke my heart.
Oh, Hilda, I bet.
And I didn't see him for a while. And the next time that I saw David, he and Chet Huntley had that TV show,
Hilda.
the news,
Right.
on television.
Oh, yeah.
I was so excited
Oh, yeah.
to know that he had jumped from
Right.
newspaper to television.
Yes.
And the thing I found out later is the reason he was so good, he was so much better than Chet Huntley, which I like Chet.
Right.
But it's because he was a writer. He had that kind of ability,
to really connect,
to just hold you to it when he was telling you about it. And so I was in Washington, D.C., had to make a business trip there, and I called him. And he sent a car to pick me up. He wanted me to have dinner with them at his home, and they lived on the Potomac then.
Son of a gun.
And it was so wonderful, just us sitting there talking. And I told him then, I said, David, even though that man hated you, you should thank him because he did the best thing that anybody could do for you.
Yeah.
Or you'd still be in Wilmington at the Star News.
Absolutely.
And he laughed about that. It just tickled him. He didn't realize, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But it brought it back to him that that is true.
That's
and
tremendous.
sometimes people can do things to us and we just go the other way, and it's the greatest way.
Well, you know, in the same way, Hilda, I think you and I have talked about it one time, one of your real loves as a child was something that you ultimately had an accident with and couldn't continue doing, but share with viewers a little bit about.
Well, I love tap dancing, and I loved ballet.
Right.
I would have loved to have been a ballet dancer.
Yes.
But of course it ended soon. Miss Belcher, which was a dance teacher in Wilmington, and she had a friend that was putting on a show, an off-Broadway show.
Right.
And so in the summer, she brought some of her best dancers up there, and I was one of them. And I did this toe dance in the show. And it was during one of the rehearsals, I was coming down those spiral steps and fell and broke my knee. And so from then on, it was crucial, and then it got infected. They had to take me back to Wilmington, fly me back for the doctor to look at it there. And Dr. Wilson operated on me, and he just told me, he said, you'll never be a dancer because you can't put that much, you know, weight on it.
Hilda.
So that's how I got into the beauty pageant.
Is that right?
Was Hannah Block lived in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Hannah Block,
and her
yes, a famous name.
Yes,
right.
She was the greatest director that we ever had at Miss America. And I was her protege for 8 years.
8 years? Boy, that must have been
I
exciting.
traveled with her. I, you know, with scenery, if we had scenery, I was right there working with it. And I just learned so much from Hannah.
Oh, yeah.
I owe my beauty pageant
career.
days with my career with it. I owe that to Hannah because, well, I just had such wonderful people to look up to and to you know, to learn from.
Now you highlight the word beauty pageant. Were they driven by scholarship as much back then, or is that something that it evolved into really focusing on scholarship?
Well, it's grown bigger now, but back then they wanted that because there was not many things girls could get in that they could win scholarships like boys.
Oh yeah.
And so Lenora Slaughter lived in New Jersey. And she's the one that wrote that pageant.
Kicked off the Miss America pageant. Yes, yes.
And dearly loved it until the day she died.